they've nearly all changed. That's been done to match population changes across Scotland. But is it a recipe for confusion? And what difference might it make to the outcome? Here with the answers is our political editor, Brian Taylor. Brian.
David, thanks very much indeed. Now, glance behind me here. Here's a political map of Scotland. These are the Holyrood constituencies where you cast your choice the last time around in 2007. But these are all about to change. There are new constituencies, new boundaries, new names. Why? Can you see what it is yet? Scotland, of course. Wipe the slate clean and start again. But this is far from child's play.
And of course we've managed to follow the city boundary.
To ensure fairness, the Boundaries Commission tries to carve out constituencies with roughly the same number of voters each.
A lot of people have moved. A lot of new areas of development have grown up, for instance in areas such as Fife and West Lothian, outside the major cities. And the population has shifted, and the constituencies have to reflect that.
But change isn't always readily understood. Here's a new West Lothian question. This is Livingston, in West Lothian. So what's this constituency called? That's right. Almond Valley.
I'm an avid reader of newspapers and watching the news, and no, I didn't know it was Almond Valley.
I most certainly wasn't aware that the constituency
Now, I
had
wonder why they've
changed
decided
at
to
all,
do that.
I think it's quite nice, aye. I'd rather had the Glen rather than Valley myself.
The new names are partly designed to make plain that these Holyrood seats are now very different from Westminster boundaries. Now, I reckon we'll probably all catch up in time, but here's another thought. This map behind me here shows the constituencies won by each party in 2007. But new boundaries mean a different set of voters. That can change the outcome, as you can see here. Experts produced this map by studying the last election and calculating who might have won the seats if the new boundaries had been in place. For example, Nicola Sturgeon, well, she won Glasgow Govan 4 years ago, but the redrawn seat is now Glasgow's south side and notionally held by Labour, just. Eastwood, that was won by Ken McIntosh for Labour, but the seat is completely redrawn and now has a sizable notional Tory majority. Look next at Edinburgh Central. The MSP there was Labour's Sarah Boyack, but in its new guise, it's a Liberal Democrat seat. And Jeremy Purvis, he won Tweeddale, Ettrick and Lauderdale for the Lib Dems, but big changes. The seat is now Midlothian South, Tweeddale and Lauderdale, and is notionally held by the SNP. Now, right across Scotland, including the lists, the SNP would still have been the biggest party, but 1 seat down. Labour, still second, 2 seats down. The Tories, they're 3 seats better off. Lib Dems, up 1, the Greens, down 1. Now, remember, these are just notional results, and of course the voters will decide who actually wins on the night in May. But it seems, despite the new boundaries, the same old scunner factor is still there.
But it doesn't make any difference to the clowns that get into rule us, does it?
Oh my goodness, David, she said it, not me.
Brian, thank you very much indeed.